Let's go, girl.
Just tell me that I can and I'll show you things that you couldn't believe.
Yo, let's go. It's Women Talking Football, or WTF for short. Not to be confused with WFT ever. Don't confuse it with WFT. Don't do it. My name is Mallory Hartley. I'm the associate producer here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football and Dave Campbell's Texan Live. We are a show full of producers, acting as co-hosts and analysts and everything in between. Sitting to my left, she is another producer slash analyst slash co-host of mine. It's the AP to my AP. I did that wrong. AP! Ashley Pickle. Hey, girl.
Hot start.
Off to a hot start. Yeah, I'm trying to post this on my Instagram story, but it's not. Well, I'm trying to post this to my Instagram story right now, but I can't.
No.
Okay, I just posted it live on Women Talking Football. And that other laugh that you hear in the control room, making sure that you can hear us and see us, it's Ms. Vianney Moreno, associate producer, Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Hey, girl.
Hey.
Yo.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you ladies doing?
I think I'm hitting that delusional period where everything gets funnier because I have nothing but football in my brain. Nothing.
So,
literally nothing.
So backstory here. We woke up at 5 a.m. this morning to go work out, as one does, because we don't have time for anything else.
Because that's the only time during the day that we could possibly
correct.
make it work.
And right off the bat, we just start laughing. You know, I thought everything was funny at 5 a.m. this morning.
Yes.
Like when we were doing the twisting machine, you know, for your abs.
That's exactly the
I walked
name
up
for it. The twisting machine for our abs.
I walked up to it, and it was already on like the 190 pounds.
Oh yeah, which is not gonna happen.
And I just start laughing, and I look at her. Well, and you're complaining about your neck because you're sweating.
Let's just bring my neck sweat to air.
So I'm already laughing at that. No, you were.
I was grinding this morning.
So I was already laughing at you, and then I look at the machine, and it's on 190, and I look at you, and I said, do you think I could do it?
And I was like, no, you're going to break your back, and then I'm going to have to look at you.
And then I went halfway, and then I did it halfway.
Yeah, and I guarantee you by tomorrow, she's going to get up and go,
I think I pulled something in my back.
And I'd be like, yeah, I know. That's why I didn't try, because I knew that I would.
Why was that your Braylon voice?
Sometimes you and Braylon sound too much alike in my brain. That's Carter Yates, by the way. Welcome into Women Talking Football.
It's episode 75 of Women Talking Football. On today's show, friends, we're going down south, and we're talking about the Brazos Valley.
See, this is why I told Vianney to turn my headphones down, because I was like, she's going to yell at some point. And it took us approximately 4 minutes.
Yeah, correct. Anyway, Brazos Valley. We're going to give you the full breakdown there through ranked teams, players to watch, and Stonks. And then we're also going to be joined by someone that we've already actually had on here to talk about the Brazos Valley a couple years ago. It's Miss Nicole Griffith, sports reporter down there at KBTX. Super excited for her to make her second debut, I guess, on Women Talking Football.
I didn't even have to give her the whole spiel.
No, she knows.
Are you available to run it back? And she was like, yeah, absolutely.
She knows. But first, before we get into all of that chaos, folks, it is time to reveal our Week 4 Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight Spotlight games. And before we reveal them,
okay,
you and I sat down on Sunday. Well, actually, we were at dinner, and we were talking about, man, this week is going to be a little tougher than usual.
Because what else would we talk about at dinner with all of our friends who don't work in Texas high school football? They were all having a good time, and we were scheming.
Yeah, and that's just that is just a great look into how our lives are, because we are sick people. I remember I turned to you at one point during dinner, and I was like, dude, I don't know what we're going to do for spotlight games this week, because it's first of all, it's a big bye week. Week 4 and week 6 are always big bye weeks in Texas high school football. So we didn't have nearly as many games to choose from, and the matchups just weren't as good as they are in other weeks, right? So you and I put our heads together, and we come up with the coolest list of spotlight games.
Yeah, this is a
banger.
Yeah.
This is a banger of a list, and we're highlighting a lot of the smaller teams, which is awesome because we typically don't get to do that. So this is going to be really awesome. Yep. So are you guys ready? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
We start off on
Take it
Thursday.
over, ma'am.
We start off on Thursday night. How about this? This is a big school game, but it is one, man, we are so stinking pumped up about. Willis taking on the Woodlands, both 3-0. This is likely the district title game in 13-6A. So the Woodlands kind of a quiet 3-0. We wondered what they would look like without their quarterback, Mayberry McTower, who
Wisconsin.
To Wisconsin. Yep. New quarterback, Jack Dalton, has stepped in. He's been a rock star so far. He's got some good connections on the outside out there. And then Willis, another program that we wondered what are they going to look like with a brand new quarterback. So DJ Lagway obviously leaving for Florida after becoming Mr. Texas Football Player of the Year this past year. Jack Emerson has now, both Jacks, the Jacks are back. Jack's Dalton for the Woodlands, Jack Emerson for Willis. He's looked incredible. They've got skill players all over the field, but this one should be really, really exciting. Willis beat the Woodlands last year. So I'm interested to see. Last year, they could just outscore anybody that they went up against. This year, their defense is going to have to play a little bit better against what has been a really good Woodlands attack offensively to start off with. But this is marquee matchup type stuff.
Well, and I wanted to point out, too, that I think, and tell me if you disagree, but I think this is kind of the first real test for both teams.
Yeah.
I don't think the Woodlands has really played up to their caliber yet. We really haven't seen what they are actually made of. So, of course, they're 3-0. And then Willis, I guess you could make an argument that Klein Collins was a great matchup for them, but I don't think Klein Collins is as good as we were. I thought they were as good as we thought.
Especially at that point in the year, we thought they were going to be better, and I haven't been impressed with Collins at all so far.
Correct. So I think this is actually the first real test for both of these teams, so it'll be exciting.
I think it'll decide that district. Another one, let's do a little cross-classification matchup. This one is so exciting down in this portion of the state. The Hitchcock Bulldogs in 3A Division I taking on Belleville, the reigning 4A Division II runner-ups. So this is just it's name brand football. You've got Lloyd Jones the third, obviously with Hitchcock there going off with their skill talent. What do they look like against just a punishing defense for Belleville,
led by menace DJ Sanders?
Yeah, I mean, the fact that DJ Sanders could try and sack Lloyd Jones is like all that you need to be enticed with this game.
That's where my eyes are going to go, is like that offensive matchup for Hitchcock and that defensive matchup for Belleville.
It'll be very interesting to see how Hitchcock's offensive line fares with that grueling defensive line for Belleville. So line play is going to be big in that one, but very, very excited as the number 3 ranked teams in 4A Division 2 and 3A Division 1 take off. So that's your Thursday night slate. We will be locked in to those. Moving on now to Friday, another cross classification matchup. That's difficult to say. And that would be 3A Division 1's number 7, the Pottsboro Cardinals, head west and take on the Hornets of Munster. They are the 3rd ranked team in 2A Division 2. So this one, a big classification deficit. We won't give away too much, but what I will say is that the offensive line variance here in average weight for Munster, it's about 180 pounds is the average weight of their offensive linemen. For Pottsboro, it's about 280. About 300 to 280 on both. I think it's 280 on the offensive line, 280 or 260 the average defensive line weight. So big guys up front. Munster has a lot of playmakers. I think that they have a lot of key returning starters that have looked really good thus far in the year. They had an incredible win over Windthorst that I thought was incredibly impressive last week. That being said, can they score early and often before the size and the depth of Pottsboro starts to wear them out? They don't want to get into the fourth quarter. They want to have a lead going into halftime if you're Munster and trying to you need to come out of the gates
survive.
And just let it rip.
Right, because like you said, they don't have I don't think they're going to have the depth to keep up with Munster. So they got to remain healthy too.
Yeah, I'll take Pottsboro in this, just the classification difference, the sheer size of the line difference. But Brady Carney and his squad have looked very, very good so far. So excited to see what they can do.
Great quarterback matchup too. Really, really both strong quarterbacks on both sides of the ball, or both sides.
How about some Beast Texas action? This one is box office stuff. Carthage taking on Tyler Chapel Hill. Okay, what more do you want? So Carthage had their revenge game against they were newly ranked Texarkana Liberty ILU. They were new to the rankings last year. They snuck into that 10th, or last week they stuck into that 10th spot. But obviously Carthage, if you don't remember, took a week 1 loss to Kilgore, then had a bye week, which was really good because Jet Surratt, their quarterback, was banged up in that game against Kilgore. Looks to be like a 58-20 victory over Liberty ILU was the right way to get Carthage back on track.
Yeah.
Chapel Hill, on the other side, 3-0, had a really, really, really good week 1 showing against Jasper, 56-20, and then snuck out a win against Gilmer. Snuck out a win against White House, which that was a good win. That's a 5A program in White House. Tyler Chapel Hill was actually down like 13-0 heading into the second quarter.
Right.
And was able to bounce back. Concerning about Chapel Hill is that Demetrius Brisbane, their do-it-all quarterback athlete, went down last game. We have not heard his status other than it is undetermined right now whether or not he will play against Carthage. But Ricky Stewart, if they're going to want to go up against what is just a tenacious Carthage defense, Ricky Stewart's going to have to put on the cape.
Yeah, and like you said, Demetrius Brisbane is more of that dual threat type of quarterback, so that takes a lot away from that run game. And I will be curious to see how much weight Ricky Stewart can hold, because he's going to bury the whole weight. He's going to hold all of the weight on his shoulders in this game, in the run game.
And the other side of that too is how important, this is my question to Jeff Reardon, is how important is a name brand win, like getting a win over a program like Carthage, even though you're a classification bigger than them, or a division bigger than them, but how much weight do you put into wanting that statewide recognition of going, wanting that East Texas recognition, rather than do we worry that we're going to overextend Ricky Stewart, or do we rush Demetrius Brisbane back in here when he doesn't necessarily need to be in? If he's any sort of questionable, if it was me, I would say this is a non-district game.
Correct.
And that's where I'm going to. Does not matter.
That's where I'm going to.
Does it matter? Yes.
It does, but in the long scheme of things, like, district play is more important.
It's not going to keep them from getting to. We're not the college football playoffs.
No,
these wins don't. They carry a lot of weight, and especially taking down a team like Carthage, that carries a ton of weight. But when it comes to the health of your potential superstar being in all district play into the playoffs, like, play the long game there.
Yes.
So interested to see where those injury reports come back. But a tasty one down in East Texas. To Central Texas we go. The number 6 ranked team in 4A Division 2, the Wimberley Texans, taking on the Badger of Lampasas. 4A Division 1 for Lampasas, so another cross-classification matchup here. Lampasas off to a 3-0 start. Really good wins over Fredericksburg, Salado, and Killeen Chaparral. Wimberley, you'll remember, blew Canyon Lake out in week 1. A very good win against Fredericksburg, and then last week falling to Austin LBJ. We had questions as to how Wimberley's defense would be able to contain the electrifying speed on the outsides for LBJ, and the answer to that was not well. Now, Wimberley is a very hurt squad right now. They are relying on their quarterback, Cody Stover, to basically do everything because of the amount of injuries that they have. For Lampasas, their quarterback, Reed Jerome, has looked really good. He's a senior now, started as a linebacker his sophomore season, ended up transitioning over to quarterback last year, now has a year of footing under his belt there. But he's got some weapons on the outside. Damian Rivas, I believe is how you say it. Their running back has put up over 300 yards of rushing already through 3 games. So looking impressive there. Interesting to see. I feel like this is a really good look for what Lampasas is, and you got to remember they have a mutual opponent. So Wimberley beat Fredericksburg 35-9. Lampasas beat them 40-21. So a little bit of work that the Lampasas defense is going to have to do to stop Cody Stover, but how are we getting anyone back from all those Wimberley injuries will be another deciding factor here.
I also think that Lampasas might be getting Wimberley at the right time. Yeah. Like, this was going to be a tough game regardless. Mm-hmm. But since Wimberley is so banged up in so many key spots, Lampasas might be able to capitalize on that.
And it goes back to what we were saying about the Demetrius Beersman thing. This is not a district game.
No.
So if you're Doug Warren, you're going, hey, we could take them out and get them in to start playing now, or we could wait a week and get our guys healthy.
Right.
And do that. So that might be another deciding factor here, because especially next week for Wimberley, it's their big rivalry game against Geronimo Navarro, which is back in their district this year. So that's always a really fun one down there. All right, the next one is probably the game of the week across the entire state. And we're not going to talk about it much because it is number 7 College Station is number 7 A&M Consolidated in District 12 5A Division 1, taking on their District 12 5A Division 1 bunkmate in the 4th-ranked College Station Cougars. Absolute banger that we're not going to talk about because
we'll talk about them here in a bit.
We're covering the Brazos Valley in the latter half of the show, so probably something that we should save to talk about there.
Yes.
But we will have this game on Dave Campbell's Texan Live and as one of our spotlight games on Texas football tonight. All right, we'll skip past that one. How about we head to the Hatch?
The Hatch!
A neutral site game on Friday night against the 4th-ranked team in 4A Division 1, the Salina Bobcats, taking on the 3rd-ranked team in 3A Division 1. So a classification jump here in the Franklin Lions. This just rocks. Also, if you want a game that you can go to for about an hour and a half and be back in bed or back to watch the last hour of Dave Campbell's Texas Football tonight, boy, do I have a game for you. Run the ball. That's going to be the story of this one. Franklin, obviously, running the slot T, another team in the Brazos Valley that we will talk about quite a few of their players, so I won't get too far into that. They're household names. You all know them by now. We'll talk about them in a little bit. But Franklin and their slot T going up against a Salina Bobcats squad that has looked very impressive. A big week 1. Okay, listen to what they've done.
I was looking at their schedule. They are rolling and firing and on all cylinders right now.
So
insane.
Huge week 1 win against Belleville, 49-30. Week 2, they go down to Waco La Vega on the road and take them down 49-27. In week 3, they take on Gunner. Again, classification disparity. They're not taking anything away from what Salina did, but a 38-7 victory over Gunner at any point is good. Now, giant classification jump there, but a very good showing. This is another real good test, even though it's a lower classification, a real good test for the Salina defense. How well do they stop the slot T?
Yeah, and this looks like Salina's last non-district game before they get stuck in a pretty tough district. I mean, Frisco, Panther Creek, Aubrey. You can throw Paris in there because they took down what was that 7-0 win? Who did they take down a couple of weeks ago?
Was it Gilmer?
They had a huge win a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, Paris did. So they're not Sulphur Springs. Throw that in there. Lake Dallas. I mean, this will be a really good test for Salina, I think, against Franklin.
Go Falcons.
Go
correct.
Falcons.
Yeah. Lake Dallas alum in there, Vianney Moreno. But yeah, it'll be a really, really good test for Salina before they really start diving into that district play.
Yeah, and
just gotta stay healthy.
If there is a defense that can stop Franklin slot
it's
T,
gonna be Salina
because the way that they play, they've got kind of like that 10-1 going
they
on.
Run okay,
and they want you to go up the middle. They don't want to get into the outside. They want to force you to go into the middle, and when you're running the slot T, that's what you're dealing with. So keep your eye on the ball and not your man, and they'll be perfectly fine. Yeah. So interested to see how that one ends up going on. All right, one last one I believe to talk about here, and that would be a San Antonio versus Austin matchup. And I know what you're saying. Yeah. San Antonio versus Austin. The Austin team just continues to blow them out every single time. This might be the year, folks. The 9th-ranked Cibolo Steel Knights in District 29 6A taking on the 14th-ranked Austin Westlake Chaparrals in 26 6A.
I really like this.
This game rocks.
Yeah.
This game rocks. You've got a Tony Salazar-led defense going up against one of the most skillfully talented teams, not only in San Antonio, across the state. The amount of prospects that Cibolo Steel has is jarring.
Well, and they returned all of them too. Like this is not only is this a talented squad, this is a veteran squad, which makes them that much more dangerous. I cannot wait to see Cibolo Steel's skill players going up against this Austin Westlake defensive line, who is also filled with a ton of prospects. Like that's where your eyes are going to go. It's gonna be how can the Austin Westlake Chaparrals slow them down enough to be able to match them?
I think it's all in the secondary.
Yeah,
I think this is going to be one of the biggest tests that the Austin Westlake secondary will get all year long. Because
they're
players
filled
on the
with
outside. It's just
receivers are insane.
I mean, you've got Chad Warner at quarterback, who
gunslinger.
set the record for both passing yards and touchdowns in a single season. You've got OU commit Jonathan Hatton at running back, Oklahoma State commit Royal Capel at wide receiver, SMU commit Jalen Cooper,
and then Samuel Harris also at running back, who's got P4 offers. Like
this is going to be a test for a Westlake defense that we talk all the time about being led by the best defensive mind in the state. And this is a Westlake squad, too, may we remind you, that took a loss at home to Humboldt-Atascocita last week. I'm not throwing dirt on Westlake. They're a really good team. I'm just saying the narrative of San Antonio never being able to get over the hump very well could change. The last thing I will say about this is an Austin Westlake squad that also took a loss at home last week, and that doesn't sit well in Westlake. That doesn't
happen in Westlake either.
So, Tony Salazar revenge game, a get-right game, after we're sitting here talking about going, this could be the year that San Antonio does it. This one is fascinating.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
And by far and here's the thing too, you can also say that, Westlake's been tested. They've been tested by one of the best teams in the state. I don't really think Cibolo Steel has been tested. No. Now, they've got a good resume. They've played Liberty Hill, San Antonio Reagan, both really solid teams. Also, San Antonio Brandeis, not bad. But this is a team that is going into this game not being super tested. And I wonder if that does sway into Westlake's advantage a little bit.
Yeah, I think Liberty Hill is down this year from what they've been. I think Reagan is a little bit down this year from what they've been. So it's like those teams up to full strength might have given us a little bit better of an insight, but Westlake is very much better than both of those teams.
Yes.
So there you go. There are our spotlight games for week 4. Of
Already.
Dave Campbell's Texas football tonight. Simultaneously, it takes forever to get to the state championships and also goes by in a blink of an eye.
100%. Yeah.
Crazy. But we are super excited. I know that it's one of the biggest bye weeks in the state, like you said, but you want to talk about an incredible slate of game on Dave Campbell's Texan Live.
We worked really hard to put this together. So tune into Texas football tonight at 7:30 p.m. on Friday. You can watch it for free on YouTube,
For free.
Twitter, Facebook, and TexanLive.com. And go ahead and become a subscriber of TexanLive.com. If you like what you see, if you tune in and you like all of those games, we'll throw up QR codes throughout the show that will take you directly to TexanLive.com, where you can become a subscriber. And man, you can get all the games in the world.
Yeah, and those are just our 6 spotlight games. We have a ton of other games this week.
So many games. So TexanLive.com/subscribe to become an official subscriber, and you get a bunch with that as well. So very excited for
more
week 4.
More of our nonsense.
7:30 Friday night. Texas football tonight. We are Women Talking Football. We're here every Wednesday at noon. I'm still getting used to that. Every Wednesday at noon, talking football around the Lone Star State. And before we get deep into the Brazos Valley, let's hear a word from our friends.
Hot days call for cold coffee. So grab great tasting community coffee, make your favorite cold beverage, and get your chill on all season long. Family owned since 1919, Community Coffee has spent 5 generations roasting blends right here in the USA. Shop now or find it near you at communitycoffee.com.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Potter, Executive Director of Be Well Texas. Too many people are struggling alone these days, and alcohol and drug deaths are increasing. We started Be Well Texas to offer high-quality, science-based addiction treatment and recovery services anywhere, even at home. We provide compassionate, caring support virtually or in person. In many cases, there is no cost for treatment if you don't have insurance. Really. Welcome to Be Well Texas. We're glad you're here.
Hey DFW residents, get your grocery essentials in minutes, not hours or days, with Wing Drone Delivery. Forget about last-minute trips to the store when you need things like cereal for breakfast before school, medicine for a cold, or snacks for a movie night. Wing's drones get you quick, no-contact delivery in as fast as 15 minutes. Say goodbye to last-minute grocery runs and say hello to more of your valuable time. Sign up today.
Many athletes want to gain weight, or specifically build lean muscle mass to help improve performance. To do this, you must be committed to consuming more calories than needed to maintain your body weight. That means more carbohydrates, more protein, and more healthy fat. This can be challenging for some people, but it's required to put your body in an anabolic or building state. The key, consistency. This is a commitment that must be followed through 7 days a week to see the muscle mass gains you want. So how do you do it? Here are 5 tips to help. First, eat often. The goal is to eat a meal or snack every couple of hours, starting with breakfast. A high-calorie breakfast containing carbohydrates, high-quality protein, and healthy fats is essential to kick the body out of catabolism or breakdown mode and put it into anabolic or building mode. Second, swap your snacks. Leave the goldfish and crackers behind and fuel your body with nutrient-dense snacks like Energy Bites and Trail Mix. These snacks have more calories per bite, making them ideal for weight gain. Third, add more healthy fats to your eating routine. Foods like nuts, nut butters, trail mix, seeds, and avocado can help add calories to meals and snacks. Fourth, make high-calorie food exchanges. That means get more calories into what you are already eating. For example, eat a bagel instead of bread, granola instead of a sugar-sweetened cereal, and trail mix instead of popcorn. Finally, fuel your body with nutrient-rich beverages like milk, chocolate milk, and smoothies. They can help provide the calories and high-quality protein you need to build muscle. If you have a hard time remembering to eat, set reminders on your calendar until it becomes a habit. Remember, consistency is key when it comes to building muscle. And as an athlete, that means you have to fuel up day in and day out.
Welcome back to Women Talking Football, episode 75, talking about the Brazos Valley today. And to help us with that, let's go to the hotline and let's bring in Miss Nicole Griffith, sports reporter down there in KBTX. Not the first time she's been on the show, but Nicole, welcome back.
Hello, thank you for having me. Busy time of the season.
No kidding. We were just talking about that. I know you've already been on Women Talking Football before, but let's go ahead and give our viewers a little bit of a refresher. So kind of tell us about yourself, where are you from, and how did you get to where you are now?
So, fun fact, I'm from South Dakota, and everyone always says, they're like, what? How did you get down to Central Texas? So I have been in the Brazos Valley this is my 3rd football season. So just, this was my second, just finished 2 years. So entering my 3rd fall, and I have been, loving every moment of it. I came from Nebraska. I covered the Huskers for 3 years before then at our sister station. And then before then I was in South Dakota. So just kind of keep moving south. So it's been fun.
I love it. And you're absolutely killing it down there. We love following you on social media. But
Thank you. Yeah, it's been busy. It's been busy with high school football, and then we go straight into Texas A&M on Saturday. So no resting right now.
Yeah, no kidding about that. But yeah, like you said, super busy around here. We're already through 3 weeks of the Texas high school football season. Have you seen anything that's been super surprising to you so far in terms of maybe teams that have kind of come out into the spotlight that maybe nobody was talking about before?
Yeah, I feel like through the first 3 weeks, like business is kind of as usual around here. Franklin is undefeated. College Station and Consol are both undefeated. So they're really handling their pre-district play. But one team that surprised me is Rudder. In Bryan, they're 3-0 for the first time since the 2021 season. They have a new quarterback in Javen Jesse. He was at Navasota. He's been at Navasota the last couple seasons. So they're able to fit him in perfectly. I haven't covered a game yet there for Rudder this season, but I've caught up with Coach Izar a couple times during the weeks, and I'm actually kept talking to him this afternoon to preview their game this weekend. And, Rudder being 3-0 is really nice because especially when our local teams like College Station and Franklin, and they have good success, but you really want those like local teams to also have other success. And so being 3-0 for the first time in a few seasons is really nice.
So obviously a huge state-ranked district matchup Friday night in 12-5A Division I, Consolidated taking on College Station. We've talked about it. I think this might actually be the game of the week across the state. Where should our eyes be going in that one?
Yeah, so College Station has never lost to Consol, and probably the closest in 6 matches. This is the 7th game that these two programs have played, and last year was probably the closest. It came down to, it was 49-42, so no shortage of points in this game. If you're expecting it to be some fireworks, I expect it to be a high scoring game again, because both offenses are flowing really well this season. Both teams are undefeated right now, so someone has to lose this Friday. And I would say keep your eyes on College Station. They seem very well-oiled machined right now. Aiden Martinez-Brown, their running back, and he's been doing really well. The quarterback, wide receiver, tight end kind of matchup between I'm blanking on their names right now, but College Station has
Will Haggart for Consolidated and Cade, is it Corcoran for College Station?
Corcoran, yes, and Jackson Verdugo. So that matchup, they last week they had two touchdowns, 2 touchdown connections, one in the first quarter and one in the third. So that I'm expecting to see that game being utilized a lot. But Will Hargett over at Consol, I swear, I'm like, Will, you're still the quarterback here. Like
4-year starter, right?
He's been starting, I think, since he's been a freshman. So it's nice. I expect him to be pretty fueled up going into this game because he's been starting for so long and has never beat College Station.
We're talking to Nicole Griffith, sports reporter at KBTX down there in the Brazos Valley area. Nicole, Ashley and I like to play this game all the time. We like to ask each other, hey, if there's one team, and in this case from the Brazos Valley, that you think has the best chance at making it to AT&T Stadium this December, who would that be?
Yeah, I would have to say I'd have to stay close, and I'd have to pick College Station. I feel like they're the most complete team that I've seen so far through these 3 weeks. They're able to move the ball either through the air or on the ground, but you can't leave out Franklin, obviously. So I think I have to pick 2 just because it's not an AT&T trip or a fall trip without Franklin having their name in there for contention.
So you obviously already talked about the like a team that you thought could surprise some people in Rudder being very surprising so far. Are there any other ones that you think that maybe we should be keeping our eye on as district play starts specifically?
Yeah, I would stay in 5A, and I would say Brenham has something to prove this year. They're 3-0 on the year to start. They finished last year with only 5 wins. So I feel like they are a little upset with how last year finished, knowing that the talent that they have, and Danny Youngs has been there for a few years. So his system is well implemented in there. If we go even lower, Anderson Shiro, they're also undefeated on the year to start. They finished last year 9-2, and they lost in their playoff game to New Diana 6-0. And they're known for like scoring a lot. So I think that has really left a bad taste in their mouth. So I feel like a lot of teams outside of Rudder, or including Rudder too, they just have a little extra fire under themselves going into this year.
And then finally,
and a lot of teams are undefeated, and so it's like district play. All bets are off once district play starts. So they handled their business in pre-district, but now we'll see how things fare once district starts.
Absolutely. And then finally, Nicole, obviously a lot of talent in the Brazos Valley region. Surprisingly, a lot of running backs. Like I was looking through a lot of the players to watch, and a lot of really great talented running backs. You've already mentioned one of them in Aiden Martinez Brown for College Station. Are there any other players that you think we should keep an eye on this season?
Yeah, if you're sticking with the ground game, Jaden Jackson out of Franklin.
Bingo.
He's a machine up there. But if we were to go to the air, Terrence Lewis from Bryan. I know they're maybe not having the success that they would want in pre-district play. They started the season with a win against Mag West, but they've lost to Huntsville and Brenham. But Terrence Lewis, he's a North Texas commit. Him and Boone Turner, that connection is, that's the hard part is like if you can lock them down, that's their main threat. So, but Terrence Lewis, he's great. He's got a lot of speed. Once he gets the ball, it's hard to catch him. Braylon, I know we've talked about College Station a lot. Braylon Wortham, he's able to play on both sides of the ball. I've seen him line up in the red zone, just wildcat to him, and he runs in for the touchdown. I've also seen him play defense and kind of that safety nickel position. So, and then Colton Schmeller, he's the kicker for A&M Consolidated. He's out, actually, he's an A&M commit, and he's actually out right now. He's got a big old brace on his leg, so he's not playing right now, but maybe midway through the season, maybe come playoffs, he'll be able to come back. So it'll be nice to see him, see how he fares, knowing, College Station or A&M, Texas A&M is on the horizon.
Absolutely. One last question before I let you go. I lied. I had one more. Okay. You have to give us one restaurant that we have to absolutely visit while we're down there, because Ashley and I are both foodies.
You guys trick me every year. I'm always like, I have to pick a restaurant in College Station.
A single one.
Depends with what you're hungry for. So, but I have one. I'm ready. I've got one this time. So, you would have to go to Jesse's Taqueria. It is, if you've ever heard of it, it's breakfast tacos. It's only open till 2. So you have to come in early to your game if you come down. And it's right across the street from Bryan High. And they are the best breakfast tacos I've ever had.
All right, that sounds like pre-state 7-on-7 meal.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say.
That would hit out at Veterans Memorial Park.
Oh my gosh. That's like the perfect food recommendation.
We get them before A&M or Texas A&M games because we have our pregame show. So we pick them up, and then it's like the perfect start. It's like, okay, now my day can start.
See,
once I have a Jesse's breakfast taco.
This is why we always ask Nicole to come back.
Exactly, because she provides not only good insight for football, but for food too.
For breakfast tacos.
It just took me 3 years to finally figure out. I'm like, this is the place I need to tell them to go to.
Oh, that's so amazing. She is Nicole Griffith, the sports reporter down there at KBTX in the Brazos Valley. Nicole, thank you so much for all of your great football knowledge, as well as your amazing food recommendations. We cannot wait to check that out, and we hope to see you down at AT&T Stadium in December.
Thank you, and my apologies to Jackson Verdugo. I apologize for blanking on your name. I have covered you.
Dude, it happens.
Just was blanking today, but we'll be good.
It happens.
Yes,
Thanks so much, Nicole. There she goes, Miss Nicole Griffith, sports reporter at KBTX. Dude, I love having her on. She's always got such great insight on the Brazos Valley. Like, she's always our go-to. When we think of Brazos Valley, I always think of having Nicole on.
Yeah, no, she's fantastic. I'm big Nicole fan and big breakfast taco fan. So you combine the two of those, and we're rocking with it.
She's one of our gals. Hope to see her in December. All right. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and get right into it. We've got a couple of ranked teams down there in the Brazos Valley region. Nicole already talked about some of them, but we're going to expand a little bit on a couple of them. Let's start off with you, 5A Division 1.
Yeah.
You saved it until this point.
Yeah, marquee matchup. Like we mentioned, this is one of our spotlight games on Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. We hope that you will join us there to see highlights of it. If you'd rather watch the full game, TexanLive.com/subscribe. But you're looking at the number 4th ranked College Station Cougars and the 7th ranked Consolidated Tigers. So the storyline going into this one is just what Nicole said. These two teams, so the first season for Consolidated was 1936. The first season for College Station was 2012. They've only played 6 times in that span. This will be the 7th meeting between the two. But Consolidated has never beat College Station. They are the new program, and they have never beat them. That is wild. That is wild. Usually it's the other way around. The long-term program is the one that wins it. And finally, what should be seen as little brother makes the big punch, and it breaks all the things and all of that. And it's like, no, that's not the case. And this could be the year that it gets done. A&M Consolidated has looked incredibly good thus far. They had a wild, you and I sat on the couch watching it, wild Thursday night game last week in Week 3 against Pflugerville Weiss, which we said that game was so crucial because it was likely that whoever lost that would get 3rd in the district.
Correct.
Why? Because College Station is also in there. So
too.
You're looking at a potential 3-way tie. You're looking at insanity. You don't want to end up 3rd in district because your first game is going to be a tougher opponent, and it's going to be on the road in the playoffs. So huge win by Consolidated to sneak that one out. Like she said, Will Hargret is back for his 4th year at starter and quarterback. He's looking fantastic. Their defense, the Consolidated defense, is what I think could end up being the difference in this game. They are aggressive, they're fast, and Consolidated hasn't played a game in their 3 games so far without scoring a defensive or special teams touchdown. So they're not just scoring on the offense.
No.
So I'm excited about that one. On the other side of it, they're going to have to stop an incredible rushing attack against College Station. It's funny because Aiden Martinez-Brown hasn't gotten the number of carries that we're used to seeing him get. You'll remember, this is a kid that really sprung into life in the playoffs of his sophomore season. College Station, when they went to the state championship in 2021,
they had Marquise Collins,
had Marquise Collins.
Who's now at Duke. I didn't know that, but he's now at Duke.
Yeah. So Marquise Collins, if you remember, was still really good, still playing well, but Aiden Martinez-Brown just popped off as a sophomore during the playoffs. He just had himself a time. Then the next year, in what was Aiden Martinez-Brown's junior year, Marquise Collins' senior year, he got hurt. I can't remember if it was the scrimmage
he did get hurt.
If it was week 1 versus Lovejoy. They ended up losing that game to Lovejoy.
Yeah.
But Aiden Martinez-Brown had to step up and really be like the go-to guy. Now he's in his senior year. He's doing well. But Kate Cochran has looked fantastic.
Yeah, this is, my eyes are absolutely going to go, what can this College Station offense do against this menacing A&M Consolidated defense? I'm so excited for this game. Like you said, definitely the best matchup in the state.
Yep.
For sure.
Yeah, it's going to come down to like a couple. I guarantee you at the end of this game, you will be able to pick out 2 or 3 big plays that were the turning points. Like this one, it should be close. It's incredibly similar competition. They've got a lot of star makers. You've got a lot of running the ball, trying to keep the ball out of the hands of people. Like it's going to be a great matchup. Who will get a couple of breaks that go their way?
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on down to 5A Division 2, it's number 10 Brenham. What's their mascot?
Brenham, it's funny because I always want to say the Bears,
Cubs.
but it's the
Cubs, aren't they? I remembered that just as I asked that question. But we heard Nicole kind of mention them a little bit. This is a team that went 5-4 last year, correct? I believe that was their record. Anyways, they had a down year. Not the kind of year that they were expecting. They get hit with realignment and they get put into a district where they're going to be playing Belton, Ellison, Waco University. Still a tough competition, but they're starting off the year 3-0. And I think Rudder also joined them as well. Rudder's 3-0 too. So tough district. A lot of undefeated teams so far in that district. It's a team that runs the spread. They have a lot of skill makers, one I will talk about later, like Jacoby Dixon. And they returned pretty much all of them on the offensive side of the ball. Defensive side, they're a little bit young, but they're off to a hot start 3-0. I wouldn't be surprised if they keep climbing in the rankings.
Yeah, I feel like most of the time your eyes would go to that game against Rudder, just being a Brazos Valley fan. But let me tell you, it's week 10. It's November 1st. That's when they play Waco University. Guys, that game could be for the district championship.
That's
in 10-5A Division 2, that could legitimately be for the district championship, because what Karen Johnson is doing down there with the Trojans, they are cooking. They've got a big one against Shoemaker this Thursday. So interested to see how they start off district play. But Waco U is cooking, and the fact that Brenham and Waco U could potentially be playing for a district championship is wild. But
it's crazy.
Week 10, keep that one circled. We'll see how they fare against Rudder, but keep that one circled.
It's funny because Rudder and Brenham kind of came into that district and they were like, hey, move aside.
Goodbye.
We're top dogs now. And Waco University's like, oh, no. Hang on here a second. But yeah, that's going to be a fun district to watch throughout the season.
Moving on now to 4A Division 2, it is the 10th ranked Madisonville Mustangs. So they're 2-1 on the season. Got wins over Diboll and Navasota, but they did drop one 29-28 against Malakoff last week. So big game coming up this week with the second ranked team in 3A Division 1 in the Cardinals of Columbus. So that one's just intriguing.
It is.
This will be a really good measuring stick for Columbus, punching up a classification against a state ranked team, and seeing what they're doing. But Ty Williams is leading the offense really well. They had 9 starters back on offense, so all of their skill players returned, including they had every single starter from the offensive line and defensive line return, which I think has led to a lot of this early success. But another team with a Week 10 banger matchup. They play district bunkmate Belleville in Week 10. Dude, November 1st is going to be a fun Friday night.
Oh, yeah, that'll be easy to pick spotlight games that week.
It's going to be hard because we're going to want to have 72
all of them.
of them.
I know. Right? Well, we could make exceptions. I am the producer of this show, by the way. You can have 72 spotlight games and just make it a 4-hour-long WTF episode. Get ready to prepare. I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. But yeah, no, and I'm always interested to see how teams like this bounce back against a very close loss. You know, like it was kind of the same thing we were running with Gunner. Like, how are they going to bounce back against losing to, I think it was Anna Powers and I were talking about a couple weeks ago. But I'm always interested just to see how well they take a loss like that, you know, and it says a lot about a team that can handle a loss well and bounce right back the next week. So that'll be interesting. That Columbus game is going to to be super fun.
Yeah.
Oh, it's my turn.
Yep.
Moving on now.
I was like,
Division 1. Okay, VNA, do it.
There it is.
There it is. That's the real one.
We need a drop button.
No, we really do. 3A Division 1, no surprise here. The number 3rd ranked Franklin Lions.
The number 3rd.
Number 3.
The number 3rd. Okay.
Yeah, right. This team doesn't need an introduction. I mean, Mark Fannon's the head coach there. He took over this program in 2020, led him to a state championship appearance in 2020. They lost to Canadian that year. That was my first state, actually. So I've like watched the Mark Fannon era like from day one at Franklin, and it's been awesome. They went on to win in 21 and 22, state title. Came back last year, but lost in a super low-scoring, close game to Malakoff. It was 14-7, yeah. And I think Malakoff scored on like the final.
It was close
to the final play or something like that, but a really, really good game. Obviously, we heard Nicole talk about them. They're not going away. They've got big wins so far over China Spring, which take that as you will. China Spring is down, and Lorena too. They're both down, but you know, programs that are typically pretty good.
Yeah, they're still good football teams.
They're still good football teams.
They're just not elite like we've seen in the past couple of years from both of those programs.
Correct. And it just kind of seems like Franklin is one of those teams that just, they lose a lot, but then they just reload automatically, so... And they run the slot T, so they always have an abundance of playmakers at running back too. So they're not going away anytime soon. Like they'll probably be back at AT&T Stadium.
The Fannon's never not been at AT&T Stadium, so I mean
that's what I'm saying.
I'm not going against the streak. Prove me wrong, but interested to see this one. I think we'll get a much better measuring stick on just how good Franklin is versus this game against Salina.
Yeah, 100%. I think so too.
Moving on to 2A Division II, rounding out our ranked teams for the Brazos Valley here, and it's the number 4 Bremond Tigers. They're 2-1 on the seasons. They won against Kearns in week 1, lost to Grapeland in week 2, and won
like Karen's.
Kearns versus Moody.
Okay.
So most everybody is back from that regional semifinal squad they had last year, and the name of the game is experience and speed.
Yeah.
This is a very experienced ball club, and they have some lethal speed out on the edge. I'm excited to see what they do this week, but District 10 2A Division 2
It's tough too. Oh man.
Murderers row.
Yeah.
You've got Bremond, obviously, the 4th ranked team. You've got Chilton, and you've got Mart. And those are just the top 3 teams. The depth in this district is still a lot, but you have to get through them. So
starting off district play with Mart is tough.
I think they're in the conversations to be able to compete for a district title. Do I think they can get it? I don't know. But what I can guarantee you is that this is a team that will be plenty battle tested by the time they get to playoffs. And that's a huge thing. As long as you can stay healthy, you can take a loss in district. You don't have to necessarily win the title. You have to be able to stay healthy in those really tough district games, and then you're going to start blowing through people because you're not used to playing anything other than some of the most rigorous 2A Division II Texas high school football.
Correct.
So that'll round it out, our ranked teams.
Ranked teams in the Brazos Valley. Hey, you know what time it is? It's time for players to watch in the Brazos. My favorite segment, because we could talk Cruton on WTF. Let's start off strong, folks, with Franklin 2025 running back Jaden Jackson. I won't hit on him too much because Nicole kind of already mentioned him a little bit. Obviously, I think he's one of my top players in the state, and I'll give you one reason, and it's because we got to see his breakout performance in the state championship game in 2022, I believe, when Franklin won it. You remember that? Maybe it was 2021. But the name Jaden Jackson became on the radar at that point because he was still young. I think he was still a freshman or sophomore at that point because Bryson Washington was the star running back for Franklin.
Because they got 2 years of Bryson Washington, so it was his junior year and his senior year. So, yeah, he was definitely a sophomore at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. He's off to the races already this season. 3 touchdowns, 149 yards on the ground in their win against Lorena. This dude is just a bulldozer. If you've watched him, he's got the burst coming out of the backfield and is just an overall super tough dude to bring down in the field. Quick on his feet, able to change direction when approach, and he's got offers from programs like Boston College, Texas Tech, South Carolina. Dude's going places. Moving right along to Rudder 2025 wide receiver Jaquise Martin. Kind of that do-it-all type of athlete. It's fun to watch him because he's a big play threat pretty much all the time because he can catch in traffic, really, really efficient at running routes, and has an insane vertical, obviously allowing him to high point the ball over defenders. Really cool, fun player to watch down there at Rudder, and he's committed to play for the Tulsa Golden Hurricane. Not Hurricanes, Hurricane.
That's so stupid. I guess technically a hurricane is singular.
Yeah, but if you have multiple hurricanes, it's really scary. So put that S on there. You know what I'm saying? Burnham 2027 running back Jacoby Dixon.
Please tell me she was on camera for that. Can we get... Okay, thank God we can cut that.
Yes, she was.
Oh, my God.
She was.
It's really scary.
2 hurricanes? Are you kidding me? Throw 3 in there and it's just an all-out ball.
I'm done.
No, I've got a couple more to talk about. Brenham 2027 running back Jacoby Dixon. He's a sophomore. only a sophomore, but he's playing like a veteran on this varsity squad. Broke out at Brenham last season as a freshman, 133 carries for 1,181 yards and 14 touchdowns on the ground, while totaling 502 receiving yards.
Just randomly yells,
and
I'm telling
touchdowns.
you. It scares me.
Well, I scare you. know?
Yeah, very true.
And one of the things that stood out to me when I watched the tape, because I watched a lot of tape already today, and I have more to watch, is his ability to navigate his way in an open field.
Yeah.
He can find those holes in the offensive line that the offensive line creates, and he can kind of just maneuver his way through. And then he's got that burst of speed that just carries him downfield like no other. He's got great footwork. Sorry, I had something in my throat. Great footwork. He's got that burst, that initial burst that really puts those running backs over the edge. He's just really fun to watch. One of his highlights that I saw was Brenham was running a flea flicker, and he gets the ball second, and he chunks it downfield, and I'm like, so he's got an arm too. It was really cool to watch. But he already has offers from programs like Tennessee, Texas A&M, TCU, Baylor, and more. But fun guy to watch. I like him in that offense. Moving on down to Somerville 2025 athlete Keith Crawford.
You are all over the place.
Keith Crawford, he didn't see much action last season due to an injury, but he's back this year. He's got good size, 6'1", 196 pounds, just a dynamic playmaker. Anywhere you put him on the field, quarterback, running back, receiver, he's going to make that play. He's a downfield threat with his speed who can catch in traffic or line him up in Wildcat and just let him take off with it. He's just that quick. And he's got an offer from UTSA.
Nice. That'd be a good get by Jeff.
Yeah, I think so too. I like this kid a lot. I think he's got really good size. I think he would be a really great fit for UTSA, honestly. And he's not going far from home. I mean, I like it.
Right there.
Two left. College Station 2025 running back Aiden Martinez Brown. I won't hit on him too much, but as I say that, I have a long list of things to say about him. But another great player who his season was cut a little short last year due to an injury, but he still put up huge numbers. 965 rushing yards, 389 yards receiving, and 22 total touchdowns. He stands at 5'9", 180 pounds. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Marquise Collins. They're different style of running backs, but frame and size-wise, they're similar.
Yeah, no, I agree.
What stood out to me about watching his film is that how he was in like his open field acceleration. He's got that initial burst of speed that if you are competing in a track meet with him, he's going to beat you. Yeah. Almost 99% of the time. He's a tough runner, able to shake off defenders once he gets into that open field. He's also valuable with his hands too. He displays the ability to line up in the slot and catch passes underneath, but can also be used as a downfield threat too on the occasion. He's got offers like from programs like Texas State, Sam Houston, UTEP, and more. Definitely going places. He will be absolutely fun to watch on Friday night against A&M Consolidated. And to round it all out, speaking of A&M Consolidated, I don't even want to pronounce his name because I know I'm going to get it wrong. But if you remember last week on Texas Football Tonight, we went to break with one of his highlights.
I'm trying.
I think it's called Big Man Touchdown.
Oh yeah,
V-roll the tape.
Big Man TD.
Blockers in the backfield. Mullenberg out. Will hand off. Now will fire into the end zone. He's got a big man touchdown. How about that? Bakapuna Faketi, the senior defensive lineman, with the touchdown grab.
I love it.
Vakapuna Faketi.
Yeah. That's the correct way to pronounce it. But it's every lineman's dream to catch a touchdown pass.
I was watching that live, and I audibly, you weren't home yet, but I was audibly on the couch, and I was like, big man touchdown! And then when he turns the corner with the Jason the Jet Terry-esque looking wings, I was like, oh, let it rip, big man. Like, let it rip.
And to do that against Pflugerville Weiss.
Yep.
Huge. I had to throw him in
audibly
there.
Yelled.
Yeah, I had to throw him in there because, I mean, why not? I think he's awesome. So every lineman's dream, big man touchdown. That's A&M Consolidated. How do you say his name?
Vakapuna Faketi.
Correct. Love him.
Big man TD.
Big man TD.
All right, there's your players to watch in the Brazos Valley. I think we got one more thing to do, and that's Stonks.
Stonks.
Always try your hand of Stonks.
Stonks. Okay, I'm going to ask you the question.
Okay.
Will A&M Consolidated finally beat College Station for the first time on Friday night?
I hate picking against a streak, but I'm going to put myself out there on this one. I think they will.
And why?
I think that this would be the time. I think it's their defense.
Yeah, I think
it's their defense. This defense is they're so fast. They're very fast. They've got a bunch of ball hawks in the secondary. I think that the biggest thing it's going to come down to, the way you want my game plan on how Consolidated wins this thing, it is all going to come down to the defensive line on Consolidated. If you can keep the explosive rushing attack for College Station manageable, I'm not saying that you have to not let them get 5 or 6 yards every time. Let them work for that.
Yeah.
You cannot allow them to have the splash plays in the run game. I think that the secondary is great for Consolidated. I think that they can handle the outside threats, but you have to neutralize the inside threat. If you can do that and not allow a couple of big ones to get away from you, then that'll be key. The other thing is too, this is always a really weird game. There are slight mistakes that are made. I mean, you watch how Consolidated played against Weiss. It was insane. It was all sorts of stuff. Do not let small mistakes mess you up, whether that's crucial turnovers or penalties on third down that's going to get you that first down. You cannot do that, and then special teams need to be short. Take your time on the kickoffs. Make sure that you get the hand on the ball before you start running. Don't let your punts get blocked. Don't let the extra points get blocked. Try to have a normal football game. If you can have a normal football game, Consolidated can win this thing. If you start getting into wacky town, that's when it makes me nervous. But neutralizing the rushing attack up the middle, I think, is how Consolidated, that's the key to success if they're going to do it.
Well, and I think this plays into a little bit too. This has become kind of like that rivalry, that crosstown rivalry game, you know?
Yeah, it's called the Step Drop the Same Town Showdown.
Yeah, I love that. And, tensions could be high. Are we going to see injuries? Can teams stay healthy? Can both teams stay healthy in such a high? There's going to be a lot of feelings going around, and it's one of those things. Can they both stay healthy?
Yeah. Now, I will say this. College Station or Consolidated, if you burn me after this, I'm never picking them to win this series ever again. This is the one chance.
That is one thing I've heard Tepper say
limb.
that has stuck in my brain is that he does not pick against a streak.
Yeah. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it this one time.
But it's going to happen eventually, right?
But
is it going to be now?
If you burn me on this, done. Dead to me.
Never take picking against a streak again.
Ever again. Please don't do this to me is what I'm asking you.
And you can watch this game in full on TexanLive.com, or you can hear her talk about it more on Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight
Rinse and
live.
repeat.
Correct. This Friday at 7:30 p.m. along with a bunch of other games that we're going to spotlight and a lot of other games that we'll probably dive into that are happening on TexanLive.com on Friday night. But yes, watch it for free on TexanLive.com, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all of the things. And it's full free at 7:30 p.m. on Friday night. That'll do it for us. Thank you to Nicole Griffith for hopping on. For Vianney Moreno, Ashley Pickle, I'm Mallory Hartley. We will see you guys next Wednesday at noon.